In this video, we will cover just a few parts of the Constitution that are about impeachment. The Constitution is our social contract, which is the understanding that you and everyone in the United States takes part in. It makes the government legitimate. It means that government officials can only exercise authority in ways that do not violate what the Constitution says, or else what they are doing is not legitimate. The language is pretty short and easy to understand, and we're dropping any irrelevant parts here. Let's dive right in with the preamble, which is the part that sets out what the point of having our government is meant to be. I'll call on the clerk to read the preamble.
We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America.
That's all pretty clear for the overall goal of the government, which is supposed to work on our behalf. Now let's get into what government officials swear to do. I'll call on the clerk again to read the presidential oath of office.
I do solemnly swear that I will faithfully execute the office of President of the United States and will, to the best of my ability, preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States.
That means that the President has given us his word that he will abide by the Constitution personally and that he will carry out what it says with what he does. Next, I'll ask the clerk to read a short part about presidential duties called the Take Care Clause.
He shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed.
That requires the President, as the head of the executive branch of the federal government, to carry out the laws that Congress has passed and that he and earlier presidents have signed. It is not optional. He has to do what the laws say to do, or else he is not fulfilling his sworn duties. Let's not leave out Congress and the rest of government. I'll ask the clerk to read about their oaths of office.
The senators and representatives and all executive and judicial officers shall be bound by oath or affirmation to support this Constitution.
When it comes to Congress, that sworn duty isn't just about what kinds of laws they pass. It also goes for holding other government officials to account, including by impeachment and removal. Now, let's get to the specifics on impeachment. The clerk will read about the grounds for removal from office.
The President, Vice President, and all civil officers of the United States shall be removed from office on impeachment for and conviction of treason, bribery, or other high crimes and misdemeanors.
So there it is. Treason and bribery are pretty specific, but we'll get back to high crimes and misdemeanors in a moment. Now the clerk will read about the power of impeachment.
The House of Representatives shall have the sole power of impeachment.
That's really important. First of all, let's be clear that impeachment is when the House brings charges against a government official. When that happens, that's what it is for someone to be impeached, the filing of the charges. As we'll see, the trial and conviction would happen after that in the Senate.
But also, what it means for the House to have the sole power of impeachment is that the representatives are the ones who decide what is impeachable or not. They decide whether the president has done things that are serious enough for them to file charges against him. No one else gets to intervene, not the Department of Justice in the executive branch, not the courts, not even the Supreme Court. It's up to the members of the House on their own authority, unreviewable by anyone else. Let's be clear that high crimes and misdemeanors aren't just about when the president breaks a regular law on the books with a criminal penalty attached to it, like if he assaults someone or if he violates a subpoena for his records. That can be grounds for removal if it's serious enough. But there are many more things that are impeachable than that. It can also be for things like dereliction of duty during an emergency, refusal to carry out duly passed laws, defiance of a lawful court order to the administration, or misuse of government assets. Just to name a few examples, in the past, Congress has impeached judges for things like using their office for personal profit, showing favoritism from the bench, disclosing confidential information, or being habitually drunk at work. Of course, you don't want Congress to remove a president just because they disagree about policy preferences. That's what elections, lawmaking, and politics are for. But remember, Congress is the legislative branch, and the president is the head of the executive branch. Congress is supposed to write the laws, and the president is supposed to carry them out. If the president acts against the law, or against the constitutional framework, or even directly against the country, then it's up to the representatives to decide that that is what is happening, and it's up to them to pass articles of impeachment.
Thank you. Now let's get to what the Senate would do. The clerk will read about the trial.
The Senate shall have the sole power to try all impeachments. When sitting for that purpose, they shall be on oath or affirmation. When the President of the United States is tried, the Chief Justice shall preside, and no person shall be convicted without the concurrence of 2/3 of the members present. Judgment in cases of impeachment shall not extend further than to removal from office and disqualification to hold and enjoy any office of honor, trust, or profit under the United States. But the party convicted shall nevertheless be liable and subject to indictment, trial, judgment, and punishment according to law.
Here is where we see that impeachment and removal is about protecting the country, not about punishing the president. If the president is removed for ordinary crimes, those can still be tried separately in the regular justice system. Finally, the clerk will read about how the president can't undo it if Congress impeaches an official.
The President shall have power to grant reprieves and pardons for offences against the United States, except in cases of impeachment.
And that wraps up what the Constitution says about impeachment. As you can see, the representatives have a lot of leeway to decide what is impeachable, but they also have the sworn duty to act to protect the country. The representatives can charge a president for offenses like constitutional violations, incompetence, negligence of duty, or abuse of power. And in turn, the senators have a sworn duty to convict and remove a president who is doing these things.